Head coach Scott Satterfield, press conference. Coach starts off with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hand for questions.
Yeah, I was just first of all very disappointed, obviously, in the outcome of that game. I think, for 3.5 quarters, our guys played outstanding. Did some really good things. Had a 21-point lead, I think, at some point there late in the third quarter, and then obviously didn't play well, did not finish. And it really was all three phases. You can pinpoint some things. Right before half, nice drive. We get down. We got to knock down the field goal. We missed a 20-some yard field goal. We got to knock that down. Then they go down. Thought the first half was over. They put 1 second back on the clock, and they knocked theirs down. It's a 6-point swing right before half. Obviously disappointing. In the fourth quarter, they hit a couple big plays. They got isolated. They're running back on one of our linebackers and hit a pass play that went to the house. Obviously don't want to put our kids in those type of situations. And then offensively, we gave up a sack and a pressure there the last two drives. Potentially going forward on the 4th and 3 there. Thought, okay, well, let's pin them back and make them have to drive most of the field to try to kick a field goal. Everything was going according to plan until the 4th and 4. And then they called a penalty on one of our D linemen, saying that he was, acting like he was calling a cadence or something, whatever they call that. And you can't hear a D lineman because our stadium was extremely loud on that 4th and 4. I mean, you can't hear anything. And I don't even know what the time was, probably a minute and a half on 4th and 4, and they want to call that and bail them out and give them a first down, and then they get down and able to kick a field goal. So there was a couple things like that happened that was very disappointing. We got a holding call in the first half when we hit a completion there inside the 10. They called holding by the same guy that called this penalty. So very disappointed in some of those calls there, to say the least, and because they affect the games, and our guys are making plays out there, and then all of a sudden they get bailed off the hook. So then having said that, they did enough to win the game. I think offensively, we had the ball shoot 36.5 minutes, trying to keep their offense off the field. Thought we did a good job with that. Third down conversions, we were pretty solid for the most part throughout the game. I thought Sorsby handled their pressure well. If you watched they pressured a lot today. Most of the game, we got rid of the football most of the time, except there toward the end of the game. Thought Connor ran his butt off today. Again, that's back-to-back years. He's really ran hard against Pitt's defense, which is really good. And I thought Fletch punted the ball good today. Again, another great day. So, very disappointed in this, but very upset as well. And I told our guys in the locker room, learn from this, but we can't make this another negative tomorrow when we get ready for Miami this week.
Did you get an explanation on Corleone's helmet coming off on that play?
No, they didn't. I didn't hear anything on that. Didn't hear anything what they said.
You had a 2nd and 1, take Corey off the field, put Evan in, loses 2 yards, and then you throw. What was the motivation behind that, kind of taking out your bell cow in that situation? You could get a first down.
I think it was an RPO right there, so it could have been a run or pass on that particular play. And for the most part, he was really good. Sorsby was really good at that. And there in the fourth quarter, we missed 2 of those that whatever decision we made, should have made the other one. But it's a course of the game. You got to make the right decisions. But yeah, obviously Corey, he's a bell cow. We got to continue to get him the ball and let him go to work. And because he did, he played a great game. He broke a lot of tackles today and had some big long runs.
For the second week, the offensive numbers in the first half and the second half were different. Was that by design on your?
No. We're trying to get
what they're doing.
Yeah, we're trying to get some plays. They made some adjustments in the second half. As I mentioned earlier, the couple of pressures that they brought, they got to us there in the last 2 drives. And they were playing a different coverage behind, which was different what they'd done all day. But we didn't have the right protections, and really in both of those third downs, and that's on us. That's not our players. We got to do a better job with getting in the right protections in order to give our quarterback time to make the throw. Because we got guys there, we just didn't have time.
All off season and leading into the season, whether it's your staff, the players I talked about, protect the net, protect home field. When you go up against a rival, they come in here and they call it an upset against you guys. How do you flip that page as quickly as you need to?
Yeah, we have to. We played a really good game up to the last 10 minutes, 8 minutes. And their kicker's really good. He knocked all his field goals down today, and they were solid. And, but we have to learn from the things that we didn't do well. I mean, there was a few plays out there, as I mentioned earlier, that probably ended up costing us the game. And, we got to learn how not to make those mistakes and get better with them and, get the win, get over the top. We got to learn how to finish these games. You can't let this game continue to affect us. This group right here, I mean, they were great in the locker room right there, with our leadership in this team. They're doing the right things. We'll continue to come together and come out and play much better next week.
You mentioned the officiating, but beyond that, the details, whether it be missing a field goal or penalties going down the stretch, how do you clean those up in time for Miami?
Well, we just got knocked down the field goals. I mean, that was basically an extra point, and he knocked down, a 50-some yarder, which is a great operation. And it's not always on the kicker. Like that, the short field goal, the snap was a little bit off, and the hole was off, and the laces were right where he was kicking. I mean, so it's not just the kicker. I'm not throwing him under the bus. There's a total operation there when you got snap, hold, and kick. But we got to clean that up because we missed two, in the first two games. And, and then the penalties, I mean, that's obviously we don't want any penalties. I mean, I think we're playing pretty solid with the penalty in the penalty game. But that was obviously a costly one at 4th and 4. Again, that's a huge moment to be calling that particular penalty, in my opinion.
Coach, I know that this isn't the result that you wanted today, but can you speak to this rivalry and bringing it back the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, it is a good rivalry. The two teams are not too far away, and they used to play every year, and it is a great rivalry. I mean, there's 2 evenly matched teams. I thought last year and this year. We recruited a lot of the same players. They're in the ACC, we're in the Big 12, so there's just a lot of rivalry back and forth with that, and I think it's a fun game. Our guys, our fans, I think our players, they get up for this game. It's a fun atmosphere, either there or here. It's one of these games that I think you remember back to some of the past history games of the game. So, but we're moving forward. We're in a new league now, and moving on to the Big 12.
It kind of seemed like Desmond Reed was basically doing whatever he wanted in the run and pass game. How do you scheme around such a twitchy guy like that, and why weren't you guys able to make the necessary adjustments to stop him?
Yeah, I mean he's a good player. I mean he's low to the ground. He's got great center of gravity. He'll make you miss, but he also has long speed. I mean that's what makes him special is the fact that sometimes when you get some low center of gravity guys, they're quick right here, but they don't have the long speed. He's got both, and he's got good hands too. He's had 150 yards and right there with Corey with 149. The difference was really the long cut. He had a touchdown catch, a 56-yard touchdown. That to me was the big difference in the game. I thought for the way he played, because I thought we tackled him well and tried to hem him up, which you can give up some yards. We don't mind giving up yards, just holding them to field goals. Which I think we did a great job there until the fourth quarter.
It seemed like Dante had a really strong game back. Obviously, you're watching his snaps and his conditioning as the game went on. But how did you think he played, especially in the second half when you needed some big stops?
Yeah, Dante, man, just first of all, just a first-class individual. I mean, he's a great person with a big old heart. Does things right. He cares about people. He's the kind of person and player that Bearcat fans love because he does things that way. He's the kind of person that we want to have on a bunch of Dante Corleones on our team just because of the way he handles himself. But having him out there was outstanding, just for our players and for him too and his psyche. He's worked really hard to get to this point in his career, and to be able to have him to go out and play today was awesome. Obviously go back and look and see how he played, but certainly he made an impact, and was getting some pressure, tackled a running back several times in the backfield. So, we love Dante and love having him out there.
I know you have to still go back and watch the tape, but still speaking on Dante, did you notice how Pitt's offense was different than maybe, I guess, Towson approached you guys because Dante was on the field?
I don't know if they really changed a whole lot. I think they pretty much do what they do, with some inside zone stuff, some counter, just going fast and just trying to throw the ball out and spread it out. I think they still continue to try to do that. I thought really, for 3 quarters, we kept the ball away from really, really good and kept them off the field. And we didn't do that in the fourth quarter offensively. That was the issue. We got off the third downs. We were doing good on third downs until that fourth quarter. That was a big part of the game to stay in there. They're a talented offense to be able to go fast. They're completely different than what they have been the last few years.
You had another roughing the passer penalty that led to another Pitt touchdown. What can you do to prevent that besides just telling them to not?
Yeah, I mean, our guys are rushing the guy hard. You know, he's outside the pocket. They're going to hit him. You know, I thought it was a questionable call. I thought he's letting the ball go. We push him in the chest. I mean, he calls targeting. Obviously, go back and look at what targeting, but he still kept the roughing penalty on. I mean, obviously, they want you to stay off the quarterbacks, but the guy, you guys saw him. He ran around all day today. And he bought a lot of time. So he's out of the pocket again, so we're trying to go get him to throw the football. He does throw it. We push him right here, and we get called roughing. It's a fine line there. Our kids are going to play hard. Hopefully we won't have any more of those, but we're going to play hard, and we got to get the ball, out of his hands.
Meekins had a big interception in the red zone, and in the second half he didn't see many snaps. Was there anything injury-wise or that decision?
He got dinged up and could not come back in. And not sure of the injury. I just know they said he was out and could not come back in. I think it happened right before halftime, so he didn't play in the second half. But he was out cheering his guys on. He couldn't play, but he's on the sideline. He's trying to pump them up, cheer them on, help coach. I mean, it says a lot about him and the rest of our guys that they tried to stay in the game and really pump the guys up that when they wasn't playing.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.